Okay, so we're going to talk about my Grey's Anatomy campaign in the community. My community was Grey's Anatomy 101, and my campaign was Farewell Christina Yang. Just so you know, this will probably be under two parts, so in order to see the results and my continued steps, you're probably going to have to see the part two of the video. So let's get started on my campaign. My campaign was called Farewell Christina Yang. So just a little bit about the show Grey's Anatomy and the community in general is that the show is currently in its 10th season and airs on ABC. It's every Thursday night at 9. Shonda Rhimes is the creator of the show, and the finale of season 10 will air May 15th. So the this season, Grey's Anatomy is actually currently a very interesting one, which is what led me into this community as well as the campaign, because the core character is leaving the show at the end of the season. Sandra Oh, who plays the character Christina Yang, has given the fans 10 incredible seasons, and she's currently leaving at the end of the season, and is what led me to my Farewell Christina Yang campaign. The campaign is in honor of Christina Yang in her last few episodes of the season, and I used 4 social media platforms for the campaign. So basically what I've learned from just starting the Christina Yang farewell campaign was that since coming to the world of Grey's Anatomy and creating the community, I've learned the amount of influence the character Christina Yang has on the fans. My social campaign evolves around the character, and her final few episodes is what inspires the campaign Farewell Christina. Popularity among certain characters among other fandoms was something that really stood out to me as I was looking through different fandoms, and I found that a lot of people ship different relationships, different characters, and although it may seem that there's just a bunch of people that they focus on, they really only focus on a core few characters. Main characters such as Meredith Grey, Christina Yang, Alex Karev, Derek, and then they also just zero in on couples. So the Twisted Sisters relationship between Meredith and Christina, the relationship between Derek and Meredith, Callie Torres and Arizona Rabin, their relationship, as well as Callie as an individual. These are really the main core characters that I found in a lot of fandoms that a lot of people focused on or looked for quotes to or wrote about or talked about or did videos about. Not only do the fans follow the characters I saw, but they also really follow the real life people as well. Callie Torres was a character that people look to as not just a character on the show, but as an individual outside of the show. And that was actually intriguing to me to see. In the past week, I also saw that the character Christina Yang was a very influential character. She influenced many with her wit and charisma and is a main feature in other fandoms. There have been many dedications in her honor of her character leaving through different fandoms. And once starting the campaign, I saw an increase in likes on my Facebook page from when I started, as well as other social platforms as Twitter. It seemed as though the moment that I started the farewell campaign, Christina Yang, it seemed as though my social platforms had started to get a larger reach and started to reach other people. So how social media is used as a whole when it comes to Grey's Anatomy is a lot of people I found used Instagram. So there are people who are involved with the Grey's Anatomy community. They use social media such as Instagram to post pictures of their favorite characters, episodes, quotes. They ship to a specific relationship. And I also found that on some Instagram's accounts, they actually used it as a game to create a contest involving editing amongst other fandom users that were a part of Instagram. A few examples actually. So I found that people are constantly discussing Grey's Anatomy. There have been many fandoms on Instagram that focus on the show and the characters involved in the show. One of the most talked about topics right now I found was Christina and her departure of the show. So we're just gonna take a look at some of the Instagrams, and they actually used Instagram to get their thoughts across, their feelings, and which characters that they enjoyed the most. And it was actually interesting because the Instagram account users also used other fans to partake in contests that involved editing, kind of like feeding off of one another. And then I found that not just Christina, but the relationship with Meredith, also known as the Twisted Sister, was especially a huge topic in the community of Grey's Anatomy. So here's a look over here at some Instagram accounts. On the left-hand side, right over here, is you're going to have My Heart Beats Grey's, and that's an Instagram account dedicated to Grey's Anatomy. This one over here, the one that I'm pointing at, is actually part of the editing contest. My Heart Beats Grey's is actually the one that started it, and she said, and they used task 1 is making a scene of Christina Yang funny scene in particular and dedicate the caption to her leaving. So people actually went from there, and as you can see, there's 268 likes, so that's something that's really strong and really looked at and reached to a ton of other fans. And there's another My Heart Beats Grey's, and that's just a little bit of the Twisted Sisters moment, especially in light of Christina Yang's departure. Down here is another account. It's called Forever Grey's, and that's another Instagram account mentioning Christina's absence. And it's actually mentioned by Sandra Oh, and it's just her quote about her leaving the show and like leaving pretty much a part of her behind because Christina Yang was who she played. So other ways social media gets used is through Twitter and Pinterest. Twitter was used in order to connect with cast members of the show or to get insight by connecting directly with ABC. Some people use Twitter just to get across great Grey's Anatomy quotes. They use it as a social media platform to get simple messages across. People of the community, Grey's use it to trend certain topics. And I actually found that there wasn't a lot of people that use Twitter as much as other social platforms. Definitely not as much as Instagram was used. Pinterest as well was another one. It's where some of the fans would use Pinterest for Grey's Anatomy. I found that Pinterest was more, however, used to post random moments or things associated with Grey's, and the platform was used often by many fans of Grey's. However, there was no real consistency or pattern. Here are some examples of Twitter and Pinterest. This is Twitter accounts up here and Pinterest down here. I'm actually going to go to some live footage and actually show you a little bit of it. So just by typing Grey's Anatomy, the amount of different topics that comes up in Twitter is actually, it can be found as a lot, but not a lot really was going on. Not as much as I found in Instagram, but you can see here, Grey's Anatomy, Grey's ABC is the official website. That's where you can follow real life characters. And Grey's Anatomy, the Grey's Anatomy quotes, which was interesting actually. And that just gives you quotes and says, just gives you a little bit of background information. So that was just another thing that you could just look at, and that was what Twitter was most likely used for. We also have Pinterest, and Pinterest was one of those things where if you type Grey's Anatomy in the search, the amount of different things that could come up was unbelievable. However, none of it had a consistency or pattern. As I discussed, you can just see a little bit of it. Random people, as long as they post, they like. This is just a picture of random guys, something that associates with the show, the Keep Calm and 30-second dance party. So there was really no consistency when it came to the Pinterest account. It was just interesting because the ones at the top are the ones that are most likely recently pinned. So it's just nice to see where everyone's mind is at when it comes to the show. As you can see, just the titles, Grey's Anatomy, quotes, funny, memories, love quotes. It goes on and on with Pinterest, and that's really where it gave you free range to do whatever you wanted. So another social media was YouTube, and I actually found YouTube very interesting. Others use YouTube to create videos, episodes, best moments of certain episodes or characters, as well as best quotes, funny moments, or dedication videos. Over here on the right are some screenshots of some people's YouTube's accounts as well as videos that they used. This Mare Dare True Love Loves 8 is an account, and a Mare Dare True Love 7 is another account that posts anything involving Meredith and Derek. Over here on the right hand side is more episodes wise. It's Grey's Anatomy 1022 season 10 episode 22 preview. This more focuses on episodes. Mostly you can find those on ABC. Down here, however, is where it gets good. It's the Grey's Anatomy funny Christina moments, Grey's Anatomy Christina Yang bartending. It can zero in on the specific character as well as specific moments and really allows fans to relive things. And that's what YouTube really helped do. So my social media platforms, however, I chose to use 4 different social media platforms. My first one that I chose was Facebook, and that was more of a dominant platform for the campaign. I basically used it for everything. The blogs were for more in-depth insight on the community. Twitter was used to start trends and follow characters of the show, and Pinterest was used to figure out what is more important in the community, mostly used for images and quotes. We're going to go a little more depth into each of these social media platforms a little bit later. I'll show you a little bit of my live feeds. So we're going to talk a little bit about the influencers of the community. So basically it's the fans of the show Grey's Anatomy, the people who watch the show. However, it was more spectators when it comes to social media and other communities. The fans in particular who pretty much love Christina Yang or Sandra Oh, those fans that really truly will miss her character and they understand her influence on not just the show but other people that she's been around. People that are fans of the relationship between Christina and Meredith, also known as the Twisted Sisters, because it's a very important relationship that is pretty much going to end when Christina leaves. Other fandoms, which are creating blogs or Instagrams of their own about Grey's Anatomy as another influencers, These fans are more so the creators or contributors, the fans of the show that create communities and their own using social media. They help to inspire my community. And then actual cast members of the show Grey's Anatomy, as well as the network ABC. So I wanted to zero in on hashtags and key topics. So I really wanted to focus on hashtag farewell Christina Yang, hashtag Twisted Sisters, hashtag Christina Yang in general, Twisted Sisters in general, and some of the words I really wanted to use as my key topics. And the main things I wanted to look to and involve was words such as best moments, most memorable moments, countdowns, and these were the things that I really tried to push out there in my communities. I used a lot of best moments and countdowns, especially on Facebook. That's usually where my huge platform was used and where these key topics were pushed out. Here are some examples over here. The Grey's and memorable moments. Number 2, Christina Yang and her edge. Farewell, Christina. The countdown to hashtag Twisted Sisters best quotes continues. Farewell, Christina. And I wanted to get fans involved using the best moments technique. I wanted to create collages of best moments involving Christina in the show. Best moments of specific seasons. Twisted Sisters. Best quotes. Keywords were great or memorable. I think it also helps gets fans involved and allows them to interact a little more instead of just watching and reading. Another technique I used was the countdown, as you can see with the countdown of the Twisted Sisters. This was actually used as well on Twitter, the countdown. I did countdown Twisted Sister moments as well, but that was more for videos rather than quotes. I just didn't want to focus on Christina, but as well as the countdown of the Twisted Sisters. And I hope that it will get across the idea of the best moments that involve the show Grace and Christina Yang. So typical members are spectators. They are the ones that watch the show. However, they never really post. They kind of just idly watch and sit by. Possibly I get a few likes, but they are more so there to be informed about the show or the characters. My goal for my social campaign was to give a proper goodbye. It was a creative campaign revolved around the final episodes around Christina. I wanted to give fans a chance to say goodbye to her character because she really is a core character, and not a lot of people got that with people that have come in and out of the show. My goal for the community, however, was to energize, sell, and inspire. I wanted to energize the people who are already fans of the show and use them to use them as my word of mouth. I want to sell the show, to create ratings, and to allow people to really see what the show is all about and possibly get it to be renewed. And I wanted to inspire new and old fans to fall in love with not just the show but the characters as well. My strategy was to build awareness and inspire fans. I wanted to connect with spectators and inform other fans of Christina Yang's departure, and that's when I used the campaigns to give fans a chance at saying goodbye to past characters, and I wanted to connect with other fandoms. Tactics, the ideas and plans was used at Christina Yang's departure as a focal point. I used her as a main focus. I used her to let fans get a chance to say goodbye. I used her character and the influence she had on others and pull moments from the past and portray it using social media. It's a way to give fans not just say goodbye to her, but other people who did that journey with her. And I wanted to do all of this using not just Facebook for favorite moments of the season, but other social media platforms. I wanted to use Christina to help lure in new and old fans and allow them to also relive moments of the past. My platforms. So Facebook is the first platform that I use. I found that word of mouth very important, and I actually posted on my own Facebook page my blog post, and it actually got me likes. Here's just a little bit of a live feed of my Facebook, just some of the things that I did on some Farewell Christina's, the beginning, so some videos about her character. And that's really what I use Facebook for, anything and everything involving her. The Twisted Sisters, quotes, videos, images, and that's really what Facebook was used for, everything pretty much. The blog, however, was used for more in-depth, and I wanted to get a little more insight on different people. So, for instance, just to look at some of my blogs, I did a friendship blog. I used a quote by Meredith, and then I discussed it and went more in depth with it. I took a lot of things from quotes. I took things from as well as past episodes. So at some point, here's another one with just a quote. And I also did one on Christina and Bert. This allows you to get really more involved with the characters and the relationships, and that's what the blog was used for. Twitter was more to trend, to hashtag, I'd used it as some of my countdowns, and that's what this here can show you. So I did a lot more videos using Twitter. And Pinterest was just used to remember that we did not forget about the show in general as a whole. Over here on the right hand side, I'll make it a little bit bigger, is my Pinterest, my Farewell Christina board, my Twisted Sisters, the good old days. Down here is another Pinterest that I pinned, is what is wrong with those interns, and we weren't like this, and we were great interns. And that is my platform so far. So